The Rainbow Tower. Written by Alex Tymms. Illustrated by R H Stewart. Episode 41. Outside. Jed ran. He didn't even look back when he heard Katie Fox and the others shouting for him to stop. He sprinted around newly erupting growth sprouting from the deck and hurdled others, all the while pounding his feet to reach the motionless body at the far end. As he ran, Jed kept telling himself, Trevor had survived this long. He had to be alive. He had to be. The bone deck twisted beneath his feet, as if the bridge were writhing in agony. Jed didn't need to touch it to feel the building's pain. The loss and fear it felt filled his head, and it was all he could do to keep running and maintain his balance. At last, he skidded to a halt, throwing himself down next to the big man's body. "Trevor!" he panted. "Trevor!" His mentor groaned. Jed grabbed him under one arm, ignoring the vile stink of the residue covering him, and tried to pull the big man to his feet. Trevor muttered, trying feebly to push Jed off. "Go! It's a trap!" "I know!" Jed gritted and hauled on his friend until he was sitting upright. "Oh, how very touching," came a sarcastic voice from way above him. A shiver went down Jed's spine. It couldn't be. Yet Trevor had survived, so why not him? Jed looked up, cradling Trevor in his arms so the big man wouldn't collapse back down again. "Can't save the father, so he's trying to save the father figure. Swenson was smiling down at him from the front of the mass. Where Trevor looked pale, but otherwise normal after his ordeal, Swenson's skin was the same bile colour as the liquid from the tank. Around him the mass churned in agitation and expectation. "I was right. I told them you'd come back and try to save him." Jed looked around the mass. Who did he mean? There was no one else near them. "Oh, I have some people here who have a bone to pick with you," Swenson announced, laughing at his own joke. "People who are not very happy with you and your family." Just then Jed jumped as a hand gripped his shoulder. He spun round. "Graham!" "Well, don't sound so surprised," he said. "The others were busy." He was about to grab hold of Trevor, then stopped. "He's not going to dissolve me, is he?" "No," Jed replied. "Can you manage?" he asked, keeping an eye on Swenson. "Why, you're going to help me carry him, aren't you?" Graham asked, looking as though he didn't relish the thought of trying to manhandle Trevor back across the bridge. "Go! It's me they want. This is your only chance." Graham grunted and began inching away, dragging Trevor with him. "You're joking," he muttered. "Oh no, I don't think we can have that," Swenson called out, and a tentacle snaked out, swirling round Jed and heading for Graham and Trevor. "This is between us," Jed shouted. "Well, true," Swenson replied with relish, "but seeing them die will cause you pain, and you deserve as much of that as I can give you." The tentacle licked at Trevor's feet, then flicked up as if to strike. At the same time, an arc of lightning hit the sinuous limb. Swenson cried out in pain as electricity coursed through him. Jed turned to see Fox and Phillips. The multiple barrels of Phillips' baton from which the lightning was coming began to smoke. Then the device blew apart, sending the bespectacled man flying backwards. At the same time, the arc of electricity vanished, leaving an acrid burnt smell in the air. The machine was ruined, but it had given Fox enough time to dash forward. He grabbed Trevor's other arm and together he and Graham hauled the big man away. "Jed, run!" Fox yelled as Phillips struggled to his feet. Above him, Swenson was recovering and looking more furious than ever. Fox was right. It was time to go. Jed turned, but instead of his feet moving with him, they had stuck fast and he toppled over. He looked down to see bone coming from the deck, and it had grown all over his boots, rooting him to the spot. "We can't have you running away, can we?" Swenson said, as he and the mass began to swell, heading straight for Jed. "I promise you, we'll catch those others later." "I know why you hate me," Jed shouted as loudly as his damaged throat would let him, while trying and failing to pull his feet free. "But I've done nothing to the retired, or the builders, or those from Red." "Ah, but you have," Swenson said as he snaked closer and closer, the mass beneath him coiling and swirling. "They were promised so much. They worked their whole lives, giving everything only to be rewarded by being thrown away, cast out into the rubbish heap." Swenson was fast approaching. "They want revenge. Revenge on the last surviving member of the family whose arrogance built this tower, who entombed them here." Bone was now growing over Jed's legs. As he took hold of it and tried to pull it off, it flowed over his hands, trapping them as well. Just like his father before him, he was held fast. He looked up to see the glistening Swenson descend to just in front of him and smile. "They want you," Swenson breathed into Jed's face. Thank you very much for listening to The Rainbow Tower. To see more of R H Stewart's excellent artwork, you'll find him on Instagram at roy.hootson.stewart. For Alex Tymms, why not try the novel OutCaste at ao3.com? Or, for something completely different, check out the Amier series on YouTube or at amier.com, also by Alex Tymms. The Rainbow Tower. Text copyright Alex Tymms. Illustrations copyright R H Stewart. The right of Alex Tymms and R H Stewart to be identified as the author and illustrator of this work has been asserted in accordance with the Copyright Designs and Patents Act 1988.